What's poppin', dogs? Mr. Allen here. We're about to solve this quadratic equation by completing the square. All right, we have x squared plus 2x plus 10 equals 0. Now, normally when we're solving, we want it equal to 0 when we're dealing with a quadratic. But with completing the square, we want our quadratic and our linear term on one side and our constant on the other. So I'm going to have to subtract 10 from both sides. So I'll have x squared plus 2x plus blank, because I'm going to have to add something there, equals negative 10 plus blank. All right. That plus blank is so we can balance that equation on both sides. I got to figure out what I'm going to add. So how do I figure that out? I'm going to take my b value, this guy right here, the 2. I'm going to take that divided by 2, and I'm going to square it. So I get 1 squared equals 1. So I'm going to add 1 on both sides. Now I can factor that left-hand side, and it's going to be a binomial squared because x plus 1 and x plus 1, the 1 times 1 would give me 1, and 1 plus 1 would give me 2. So I can just write that as x plus 1 quantity squared. And that's the whole point of completing the square, is to get that binomial squared so we can use square roots to then solve. So I'm left with negative 9 over here. Now when I square root on both sides, we're going to have x plus 1 equals square root of negative 9. Squaring a negative number gives me I, right? Imaginary numbers. So I'm going to have plus or minus 3i. Square root of 9 is 3, and I have that I there to take care of the imaginary aspect, the square rooting of a negative. So now, for my final answer here, I'm going to subtract 1. I'm going to get x equals negative 1 plus or minus 3i. Boom. That's it. Not too bad, right? Had to remember the imaginary numbers when we're square rooting a negative when we're solving. Other than that, not too bad. We can leave it as that plus or minus. That's pretty nice. Makes it easy to write. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Woo!